Now, I don't know. We got sound effects.
I don't think we have sound effects.
Let's try this out.
No sound effects?
What's goody? What's goody? Back on with the Smile 69 Network. You already know it's your girl Solo Charm in the building at S0L0_charm. Got my girl Vanessa Smilez next to me, of course. Happy birthday, Vanessa!
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
Yes, looking like you living your best life, baby.
Absolutely.
That party last night was lit at her house. I ain't gonna hold y'all.
I'm
It was lit.
trying to.
Y'all ain't allowed to be there. Sorry.
Yeah,
y'all.
they don't know that I'm Vanessa. Let's keep it
And we
going.
got Miss Precenda, the hit maker.
Hi, baby. Happy birthday, Vanessa Smilez.
Yes.
You're my favorite girl.
Yes. And we have the lovely Precenda in the building. You know, we normally don't get graced with her presence as often. So y'all niggas,
Yeah, because she leaves by now.
better appreciate this shit.
She leaves
Let
by
her
now
know.
usually.
She's out here.
Let them know. I'm out here.
Only when she chooses to be. So you better catch her.
Thank you for that.
You better catch her.
Vanessa Smilez, birthday girl.
Yes.
What you gonna do for your birthday?
I mean, I feel like I've done a lot. I spent time with family. I usually do. I'm not really picky about birthdays.
I
For
crashed
me,
the party last night.
Yes. Shout out to Solo Charm. Thank you so much for coming through. Shout out to
crashed
Solo
the party.
Charm.
Yes.
She
All the
crashed the
uncles was
fan.
hitting on me, so I know I did
Yes,
good.
They were. I had
Came
to
in
control my
looking
uncles.
good.
I had to control my uncles because it was terrible. But no, it was definitely good. Always being around friends and family is always a great thing for me. Just being around genuine people who love and care for you and support you. That's the way.
That's all that matters.
But yes. Hey, LP. Shout out to LP.
That's my manager,
You
y'all.
know when you come in here, yes.
If
So
you need
anything
to
that
book
has
me-
to do, yes, go ahead.
You need to book me. You need to hit up LP, the next mogul.
Don't be in her
On
DMs.
IG. Do not be in my DMs.
Don't
I
ask her
report you right to
nothing.
him.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
99 Logan Street. Eyes Past Fet. I'm hosting that. Shout out to
And
AMC Annoyance.
Logan and
yes, DJ UncleTone. Yes. Yes, indeed. Hey, DJ. So there's a bunch of people doing it.
Logan and what?
But you know what? We got. Oh yes, Logan and what?
Logan between Etna and
No,
Jamaica. We
we
out
will
here
see her
live.
off.
East New York gonna be on fire
We will
tonight
see
because of
her-
me.
we will
It's
see
a
her
Guyanese
off in
party.
entirety.
It's a
LP is
Guyanese
the
party.
boss.
Also, guy needs
Striving
party
to live
tonight.
that life one day
Yes.
where you're a true boss and you don't have a 9 to 5.
I know
Shout out
that's
to
right.
my mom for that beautiful
Real
mix that
bosses.
she gave me. That
Real
Puerto Rican,
bosses.
Dominican, Guyanese. Shout out to my daddy and my mother for that. So I get to rep all sides today.
Yes, baby.
Plátano con salami. I get to do that.
I love
Turn
this
into
show.
a country town homegirl.
I really,
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
really love
Jamaican
this show.
accent.
I love this show.
Thank you. Oh my God. Shout out to Precenda for loving the
I
show.
have learned so much from you guys. I really have.
And I have you.
I feel like I'm going to be the party pooper now
no,
to talk about today's topic on the show.
I'm excited
That's a
about
good thing.
it.
It's
It
a good
is.
thing.
So I don't want to get, I hope I don't get emotional because I got lashes
Well,
on. These
today's
shits will come
topic
off.
is domestic abuse. And shout out to Solo Charm for actually bringing this to light. I thought about this. I thought for me to bring it up, I thought it would be too, sometimes people consider it too heavy or they don't consider it fun or energetic. But for me, when I think about the topic of domestic abuse, I think about it just being transparent. It's not necessarily most of the time it is a negative thing. You know, it's not something that benefits people in a way, but it's something that needs to be spoken about and needs to be discussed because a lot of times people sometimes dismiss domestic abuse or they think it's insignificant to people's lives or it has an insignificant impact depending on the perspective you're coming from.
Yep.
But when it comes to domestic abuse, it's something that needs to be talked about because we have to be able to prevent this in our lives. We have to find a way to create solutions for people in these situations. And I feel like the only way that you can do that is by expressing your experiences and, you know, giving
it's
what
in
you
our
feel like would be
community.
the best.
I mean, we can't keep pretending that it's not in our community.
Absolutely.
It is. You know, we talked about that earlier today on the Grown Man Show.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know.
Shout out to the Grown Man Show 4 to 6.
Same,
Here on
46,
DTF Radio.
right on DTF Radio. But we talked about it because it's in our community. And I noticed that a lot of female artists now are talking about it, writing about it, and putting it out there.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think the purpose of a lot of people making domestic violence or abuse the topic of conversation all of a sudden now?
I think it's because it's not being hidden anymore. Like, because women are becoming such a forefront in a lot of aspects of industry, such as music, such as anything that has to do with a position of power.
CEOs.
They'll talk about it. It's not so hush-hush. It used to be as what happens in your house stays in your house. Now, we're not in the house anymore.
Or don't
We're
let everybody
outside
know
the
your
house.
business.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. What made you want to talk about it, Solo?
Okay. Well, August 10th, 1997, my mother actually was gunned down and murdered by an ex-boyfriend. So I never knew how to classify that besides just being a murder until I actually paid attention to the details of the murder and realized that it was a domestic situation, nonetheless. And for me, that's such a serious matter because even after the fact, I was in a situation where I dealt with somebody in a domestic violence situation and didn't even realize that was really domestic violence.
Right.
I had such a ride or die mentality when it came to being with the person I was with. I thought that meant that was taking all the shit that they gave me and possibly something was my fault or I did something wrong. Like even with, as far as my mom, me being a female growing up and being around males and seeing shit and being like maybe the reason why this nigga bust upside her head is because she was acting crazy type shit is me condoning it myself. But it became a matter of I even at one point blamed my mom. Like, what did you do to this nigga to make him feel like he had to take your life?
Let me ask you a question. Did you find out all the details about your mom's murder? Did you find out how did you find out the details?
My family told me.
They finally told you
And,
everything?
there was a letter that the person left behind
Oh, wow.
that was addressed more so to me and my family apologizing. And like I said, a lot of black families, we try to hide everything and make it hush hush and it never happened or it happened, but we can't let you know right now because you're not ready to know. And I always tell people all the time, if you could tell me that my mother is gone, you could tell me why my mother's gone.
I agree. That's
You
true.
can't
Facts.
you can't hide that from me. I'm gonna
Facts.
find out eventually. And if people would have been more open to me about that situation, maybe I would have been a little bit more okay with certain things. Because my thing I want to talk about today really was the after effect of it. It's one thing to be in it, and it's one thing to live past it. But what people don't understand is once you're gone, there's other people that deal with it.
Yes.
Because
Did you think that you would have not gotten in a domestic situation yourself if you had known more about like your mother's situation?
I knew about my mother's situation from young. I just didn't know how detailed or how in depth it went.
Okay.
But I feel with that situation, it came from me not really understanding the dynamic of relationships and people's feelings. Because for me, even to this day, I'm scared to death to be in a relationship at times.
Really?
I understand that.
That's real talk.
Because when people say you need to be with somebody who loves you more than you love them, that shit scares the fuck out of me. I don't want it.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you outright
You're
why I
like,
don't want it. Because it's like, what if one day I say I don't want to be with you no more and I want to leave? Are you gonna kill me?
I broke up with a guy because it was looking like it was going to be murder-suicide. And I was like, you know what? Before we even get there, let me fucking leave your ass, cuz.
Exactly.
And it was starting to look like, this could be, on Discovery ID. I was like, oh,
Exactly. Like a lot of people don't understand how
Or
far it
sometimes-
goes.
Or sometimes people dismiss those ideas. I've experienced that even myself. Like I'll be like, oh, this person seems like they're really into me. Sometimes if you want to see the I guess the positive portion of the situation, you just like maybe this person is just genuine or you know. But if you get to a certain point where people can't logically separate,
right.
or people can't logically understand where someone else is coming from when they say they don't want to be with you or whatever
Yeah.
the case may be, then yeah, you're gonna have to consider other things because no one ever wants to be in a domestic violence situation, and you want to be able to see these signs before something detrimental like that happens.
Well, I'll tell you, if your instincts tell you something's crazy, I tend to think that we're right. Like, if I think something's crazy, it usually is mad
Absolutely.
fucking nuts.
Absolutely.
But I will honestly say that I don't think, I say it from how my family explained it to me and me growing up with a person, because a lot of people don't know the person that killed my mother was a very close family friend, her ex-boyfriend, and the person that she chose to be my godparent.
Whoa.
So with me having tea parties with you and everything like that, I never saw a violent bone in this person's body towards my mother. So it was something that was kind of like out of nowhere. And now the truth of the matter is, probably so. Maybe my family did hide some things from me, so I wouldn't know. But to me, it came out of nowhere, and it really became a matter of I can't have you, no one can.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to relationships and me being with somebody who loves me more than I love them, it scares me because I don't ever want you to ever feel like you
can't
need
be
to
without
be
me.
with me.
Right.
When people be like, I need you in my life, I don't want to need nobody in my life because I never want to get to that point where I'm willing to harm myself because of you, or you're willing to harm yourself because of me. Because I've had people I've dated in the past, and even, I hate to say it, like just fucked around with.
Right.
That would really tell me like, I'm going to kill myself if you're not with me. And I'd be like, nah. And you'll stay with the person because of that.
But there's a healthy need
Hello?
as well. You know, there is such a thing as a healthy need.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you haven't seen it yet, but there is such a thing as a healthy need. You know, you could meet somebody that seriously, like, you know, can't imagine living life without you, and it can be healthy because you can feel the same way back toward them. You know, but that's going to take a lot of processing for you because of what you've been through.
But my thing is like, if that be the case, right? Why do we have to be in a relationship? Why do we have to be together if you need me in your life? Why can't we be the best of friends and leave it there?
I mean,
If I break up with you and I want to be friends, why can't we be friends? I'm in your life. I'm
Well,
not
for
sexually with you. I may not be there with you 100% all the time, but I'm around you. I'm with you.
But sometimes
But
that's too emotional for people. What do you think, Vanessa?
Yeah, I think that that's something that, you know, where people feel like sometimes they're showing passion. I was in that position, not necessarily where I was willing to kill myself or kill anybody to
Right.
that extent, but I was in a position where, you know, I was trying to keep the relationship that I had going. I wasn't trying to get rid of the relationship. That person was trying to sever the relationship. And for me, because I felt like we had both put so much into it, why would we let this go? And I feel like just because
Right.
sometimes when people don't see a certain point of view at that time, it doesn't mean that they won't ever see it.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and sometimes certain people, they and not to say that people who are domestic abusers are, you know, that they're great, but sometimes people see a positive ending in some sort. I know it sounds crazy, but they see things in a hopeful way.
Yeah.
They commit acts or you know, they do things to try to bring hope that they would possibly get together with this person. Now, obviously, when you kill somebody,
Yeah.
or if you harm somebody, there's no chance. There's no coming back. There's,
No.
you know, and that's the logic that they don't get through. But I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes in order for somebody to commit some type of heinous act or really, you know, actually take a person's life, you're not thinking logically. One, yes, you are passionate because you were passionate enough to take time and energy out of your day to go and put something towards somebody who wanted nothing to do with you.
See, I think you're out of your fucking mind.
Absolutely.
100%.
Like, you're out of
Absolutely.
your
And the
fucking
person
mind.
who-
But
Tell
see, that's
mom.
the thing. That passion, sometimes passion can be great, but
'Cause
depending
it
on
spills
how much
over.
you have, right? Depending on how
And-
much you have, you can hurt yourself, if not someone you actually really love and care about.
And the person who killed my mother, he actually killed himself after the fact.
Really?
So it really became one of
Like
those
right
things
after?
where I believe a couple hours after my mother was tended to and everything like that, they actually
Wow.
went to his house location and found him
So did your
because
mom
he killed himself.
die right on the spot, or did she live for a
no,
little while?
my mom fought for about 3 hours.
Wow.
Wow.
How old were you?
I was 6 years old when that happened.
That is
Wow.
fucking traumatic. That's traumatic. So do you think that we do a good job talking about domestic violence now? What do you guys think?
I feel like when we talk about domestic violence, we kind of talk about it in like, and I hate to say it this way, but like the white woman's form of domestic violence.
Okay.
Like Lifetime
Like, he
story.
touched me.
Right.
Like, oh my God, he beat me. I called my parents and nobody wants to help me.
Right.
And, and it's like, my name ain't Susan.
Right.
And to quote Whitney Houston, my name ain't no goddamn
Right.
Susan. Like,
So,
me and Susan don't have the same story. Me and
Right.
Susan don't have the same resources. Me and Susan don't have the same
yeah.
living
Absolutely.
area. We don't have
Right.
the same environment.
You
I
don't
feel
have
like
the same circumstances.
for you to tell a woman who's in a domestic situation, the only way I can help you is to go to the cops and report it.
Which
leave.
or the And the order of protection protects no one.
Go to the courts, go through order of protection. Leave your household where you built
Yep.
with your child if you have one, which is most of the situation with a
Or
lot
your
of females.
children.
No one
Or
really
your
talks
children.
about protective measures.
Because protective measures aren't shit.
They don't work.
No, I'm
Because,
saying like
And
take
I
a
don't want to
martial arts
say it
class.
that way.
oh,
Find out how to carry.
yes.
But
Like
see, the
these-
thing about it,
not that
if
you
you
should
down
expect
south,
these.
carrying is one thing.
Like if you're
But
in the
here,
South, you already have a
If
gun.
I have a
Down
gun on
south,
me
not
and I
up
have a
here,
license for it up here and I shoot you in my house,
you will go to jail.
Well, not in your
I'm
house.
gonna go to jail.
That's
if I
that's
pistol
laws.
whip you, if I do anything that you did to me, it's all about who goes to the cops first.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I've noticed that with every situation, even outside of domestic situations, it's all about who goes to the cops first. And it's who the cops feel pity for first. Because I've seen firsthand situations where people tell cops and cops turn their back.
Yep.
Like for instance,
yeah.
and I hate to quote it this way, but this is actually, I met a beautiful woman and her daughter is Tony. And Tony was the young lady who everybody was going crazy for on IG at one point because her baby father tatted her face on his back. And everybody was saying, oh, I want that kind of love where a nigga
Oh, no,
tat
I
my
don't
face
want
on
that.
his back
I don't
and
want
da-da-da-da
that. That's too
to prove
crazy.
how much he loved me and he married her and everything like
No,
that.
no.
And do you know what happened to Tony?
What happened?
One morning, they had an argument, and he pushed her down the stairs in their building, and she landed by the basement door. And you know how they found her? Her daughter was crying over her body.
Oh, hell no. See, no. But Vanessa, I think you do hit on
but
something.
the thing with that is, before you start, her family already was told, they knew about the situation at hand. And they called the cops and told them to do a wellness check. And you know why her family's suing the city now?
Why?
Because these bastards did not come do a wellness check until
They
the next
won't.
fucking day when she was dead.
Yep. And can we just talk about the part that families play?
Yeah.
You know, these families of these men that abuse, stop acting like they're not doing that. Like, because if I have a family
Yeah, I was just
member
talking about that earlier.
that is abusing a woman, I cannot fuck with you under any
They be at
circumstances.
barbecues.
I can't fuck with you. I
Acting
can't talk to
out.
you. Matter of fact, if I see you do anything, I'm fucking calling the police on you. Because we got to stop acting like and holding this kind of behavior, you know, and making them
Making them feel
accountable.
okay.
Because like I said, in black households and even Hispanic households and minority households, it seems like everything is what happens in your house stays in your house.
Yeah.
Right. Because we were told,
never
like,
want to
don't
diminish
tell
the
your
look.
family's business.
Right.
Exactly. It's
You
not
know,
nobody
don't want
else's
the look
business.
to-
But
to-
when your family's business is in the street now, what does that say about your family? Now it's like
Right.
you tarnished your name.
Right.
Because best believe, like, I've had incidents in my household, even with my own family, where it's been like cops have been called. But I remember this incident so well, and I hate to say it this way because let me say this before I say anything. My father's a great man. Father took care of me when my mother got killed. My dad was taking care of me before my mother got killed. I feel like when it comes down to a lot of males, they're always told that they're protectors and they're supposed to be so beastly and big bad wolfish and they can't have no emotions or nothing like that. I will never condone violence in nobody's household. Understand that. But what I will say is because we think therapy is so wrong in our community and we don't want to tell nobody what
Yep.
the hell's going on with us, people do have pressure points and the shit will
Yep.
build.
You
And
right.
I know for a fact, I fucked with my father as a teen. I
I-
know I got
I
on his
agree.
damn nerves. And I know
I
the job
agree.
he had got on his damn nerves. And I know when he came home and I did some disrespectful shit and it embarrassed him, he was pissed. And I know my dad was giving me shots to the chest.
Right.
After a while, when the belt didn't bother me, he hit me in my chest. And I
On
would
the
lay the
hand.
fuck back and I would understand. Like, I'm not big and bad. I'm not a
Right.
boss. I need
Right.
to stay in my place.
Discipline.
Yeah.
But I never would say that it was okay. But what I will say is that nobody spoke to him. This is how he grew up himself.
Right.
And that's the problem. Like, instead of us saying that beating each other and controlling the women in your household and things like that is not an okay thing, niggas will think it's okay.
So did you look at
But-
that now as like being abusive or like discipline?
I never looked at things as being any form of abuse until somebody outside told me.
That your father was abusive?
See,
Like,
that was
I
my,
never
that
looked-
was my
I don't
small
think that my
argument
dad
last
was.
week. We were actually talking about domestic violence. Me, LP, Al, Gallo, even Uncle Tone, he was sitting there too. We were all talking about this last week. and I was the only person like that was rooting for Ike. You know, Ike. And
Right,
Ken.
yeah, you were the
I
only
was
one.
Oh, you
girl.
was there.
Yeah.
I was the only person.
How the hell
rooting
that
for
even
Ike
come
and
up in
Ken.
conversation? I just want to know. You said LP. So I already know this went bad. from the
Right.
get-go.
As soon as you say his name, you know it's gonna go bad.
It went terrible. They kind of got up from that believing that I am endorsing the domestic violence or something like that. I just have an understanding. Like sometimes there can be disputes. People can go at it, or people can disagree and not have the same, ideas or things that they. Shout out to DJ Silk out here with the Jamaican rum.
Oh, shut up.
Posted up
I'm
on
not
the
drinking
glass.
that shit. That shit nasty.
I can't.
God.
I mean, to be honest,
Shit's
I
piss
always-
water. Nasty.
But no, people have disputes. So I'm like, people, if you can beat not saying if you could beat a child, what's the difference between beating a spouse?
Right.
Not saying it has to be beating per se, but
Right.
there's going to be times when your child is not going to do exactly what you want them to do. And there's going
I
to be
know my
times
mother
where your
whipped my
spouses are
ass.
not going to be on the
Yeah.
same page as
She
well.
beat my ass.
I
Yeah.
think-
But it's never
But
okay to put your hand on somebody who didn't put their hands on you.
I
It's
think
never
what
okay.
happens is that it's the intent behind the so-called abuse.
Right.
I don't feel people that are in domestic violence situations or where they feel it's a control thing. I feel like that's not a good intent.
It's always control.
I feel like when it comes
Yeah.
down to your parents beating you, or like even my dad punched me in the chest sometimes, so I was getting big and bad.
Right.
It came from a good place. It was executed horribly.
Right.
Absolutely.
But when you tell me you're gonna, like, I was in a situation during one of my breakups with my long-term boyfriend. I dated somebody, and this nigga used to choke me. He held me over the edge of his roof of his building with his hands, like with his hands on my throat, choking me. He threw my phone down the stairwell, everything like that, because he was jealous. He would choke, like he would really like drag me, things like that.
That's abuse.
And exactly my point, and that's what I mean by that came from a place of control. You didn't like what I did, and you feel like me being your girl, I can't be acting out like how I am.
That is
you need to teach me a
abuse.
lesson. This is your control aspect.
Absolutely.
This is not from a loving place of I love you, and
Yeah,
I just
no,
feel
I
that's
like
told you I don't put my hands
this
on
is
people.
me trying to tell
Somebody
you
put
or
their
show
hands
you
on
a
me.
different way. This is not you having a conversation with me. This is nothing of you trying to respect me in any way, shape, or form. This is you showing me you control me. I'm lower than you. I need to look up to you. I need to beg for your respect.
And that's usually people who have zero control in their lives.
Absolutely.
No one respects them. So they don't even, they can't even begin to know what it really means to have respect for anyone, much less a woman. And
'Cause even
they
if you-
have mommy issues.
Right, because even if
That's
you
a mommy
disagree with
issue.
somebody, like that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Even if you, and I can't even say mommy issues, because this is the thing. I was hit by a man who takes very good care of his mother.
No, taking care of your mother,
So, like-
taking care of your mother and not having mommy issues are two different things. Two different things.
What is the
Quick
difference?
story. Here's what the difference is.
Okay.
I have a dear friend that's like a brother to me. He adored his mother. According to him, like she walked on water. But he started having all these issues after she died. And we talked. And this is no disrespect to the religion, but I'm just telling you this is a part of the story of his life. She was a witness. When you are a Jehovah's Witness, and she was a staunch witness, God was going to provide, even though him and his brothers and sisters were eating out of the trash can. So instead of her making sure that she provided food for her kids, she was waiting on Jehovah. All of this weighed on him really heavy. And I said, here's what your problem is. No disrespect, you're angry at that bitch. And you don't know how to really say that, like, that was fucked up. That you got us
So you
eating
act
out
out
of
of
a
guilt.
trash can
Yeah.
because you're gonna wait for Jehovah? What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
I would have started fucking
What
nigga
the
named Jehovah.
fuck? Like,
But like Jehovah,
and it
you want
really,
the pussy?
it turned,
Come through.
right.
Bring some
Yeah.
groceries.
Like,
Yeah,
bring
why
some
am I fucking you?
groceries.
Right. I
Right.
should just go to Jehovah.
Exactly right. But because of that, and he
Wow.
was good to his mother, like you just said, because those are two different things.
Yep.
Loving your mother and having respect for your mother
It's
is
two different things
different
completely.
than
Absolutely.
being like you love your dad. You talk about your dad all the time, Solo. You love that man.
But it's
But
a
you're
lot of
just saying
fucked up shit that my
this
dad
was a
did.
fucked up thing that he did.
And
because
now-
that's a natural
And the
fact.
thing about it is, like, for me, because of how my mom passed away, everybody wrote me off as the angry child because I was too quiet at one point. And then I was just angry, wanting to fight everybody. Then I just wanted everybody to stay the fuck away from me. I got put in therapy.
They put me in therapy too.
Did
And-
therapy ever help you with like the real issue?
I can honestly say, I don't think anything's ever going to help me with the real issue, because the real issue is my mom's not here.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can do to help me with the fact my mom's not
Yep.
here. Like, she's never coming back, and I always got to face that reality every year.
And I
Every
think it's
day.
a different, situation when you lose your mom to like a long-term illness. That's one thing, but to have your mom be murdered,
Taken
I tell
from
people
you,
all the
yeah.
time
to be
that-
murdered,
That
it
is
is
a difference.
not even remotely the same. Like my
Because-
mom died too, but she died of a disease. It's not the same as what you're going through at the loss of your mother, because my mother got to die in a hospital, in a peaceful setting. Your mom was murdered.
Yeah.
And that right there is trauma.
Like, I try to tell people all the time when it comes down to that, it took me a very long time to even say those words.
You have PTSD, you know.
I do.
You got PTSD.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah, you do.
But for me, I live past it, and I try my best not to stay in it.
Right.
I had to learn not to stay in it.
Okay.
But as far as if therapy helped me, it took years to get to that point. It took a long time to get to that point.
Did you always go to therapy?
I skipped out
Okay.
sometimes because I would start hearing things that I wouldn't want to hear.
Okay.
Do you think therapy did anything for your feelings as far as coping with your mom not being here?
I think therapy and my faith in God definitely helped me with dealing with the fact my mom wasn't here.
Okay. Do you still go?
No, therapy's kind of expensive. Don't let
Yes.
nobody make you
No,
think that
yes,
that
the
shit is
fuck it
free.
is.
It's very stupid.
No, it
yeah,
is not
my
free.
insurance only paid for like, I think it was like 3 months.
It's
Yeah.
not.
I
It's
I
not
was
a
really
public
young.
defender.
They gave me therapy too when I was young. I
It
completely
is not a
forgot.
public defender.
Mine,
It's just
mine
not free.
only gave me 6 sessions.
It
So
was about
I'm
3
like,
months, I was in therapy.
well, there's no point in me even fucking going. 6 sessions. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just getting used to the person enough to even talk about,
Be
like,
open
what my
about it.
issues are.
Yeah, and that was the thing with therapy is like sometimes when you would go or I would go to therapy, I would have one therapist one week, another therapist next
Oh,
week.
see?
And now it's like
Nah, that's no good.
I don't want to talk to this bitch. I don't know
Right.
this bitch.
I don't
I just
know
went
you.
through last week's session. Where's the bitch I was talking to last
Right.
week? I don't want everybody knowing my business.
Right.
Like at one point in time, like, all right, as I said to Vanessa last night, for me, I feel everybody always gets lost in translation and only thinks about the person in the domestic situation.
Yeah.
Which you should. You should want to help them and everything like that. But you have to think about the people after the fact.
The people that are left behind.
Like
Who
I
is that
said,
person connected
Tony has
to?
has a child who I believe is 2 years old. That little girl has to deal with what my sister dealt with because
Yep.
my sister was about 2 going on 3 or 3 years old when my
Wow.
mother passed
Oh, yeah,
away.
yeah, her
And I had to tell my sister that my mom wasn't coming home.
Oh, God.
And my sister looked to me for strength. Now, what do you do when you're the only child?
And you're a kid.
And you're a kid, you don't understand this. And now you're playing around, you're young. It's gonna come that day that you're gonna ask, where's my mother?
Yeah.
And somebody's gonna have to tell you where your mother is. That is the hardest thing I can honestly say to this day. I've seen my father had to tell me.
Because
Besides my uncle being murdered, that was the hardest thing that I know my father had to tell me
He was
because
the
he couldn't
one
even
that
tell
told
me.
you that, she had been.
My father and my grandmother. Like
Wow.
my dad came upstairs to my grandmother's house, and I was up there, and he told her to call me down, and they called me down to the living room, and my dad could not speak. That's one of the first
Did
times
you
and like the
know-
last times I really remember my
you have
dad
an
not really
instinct?
being able to have words.
Did you have an instinct?
I kind of knew something was bad, but as a kid, you don't know how bad shit can get because you
Right,
didn't
true.
experience anything really
Yeah.
bad. The most you experienced bad was you got your shit taken away because you was acting up in
Right.
class or something.
Yeah.
But you really didn't understand the dynamic of what it is. And I remember him telling my grandmother and her coming to me and them both like staring at me and they were trying to figure out how to go about it and say it.
Right.
To this day, I remember my exact instinct once it left their mouth that mommy's with God. Because I went to private school and I was actually at that time, I was going to Catholic school. So at that point in time, I knew God. I knew the concept of God. I was in Bible school on weekends, things like that. I kind of understood what it meant, but I really didn't understand what it meant. But I know what it meant when you said somebody's with God.
You knew that meant death.
Exactly. But as a kid, you don't understand that. So
No, you don't.
it's a serious matter, but it's not a serious matter.
Right.
Because you've
Until
never
the
experienced
long-term
it to
affects
you.
Yeah.
So I literally ran up to my room and locked myself in my room and did not come out till it was time to leave, to go on the plane, to go down south. And I can honestly say that the whole week is in slow motion in my head repeatedly every year once it comes back around, because I remember everything. And the one thing that actually I remember after the fact is I went to therapy and I was in a group session and somebody told me it's not a bad thing your mother died. Now, mind you, this is only 2 months after the fact.
What?
Now I'm gonna explain to you. I get it now what they meant.
For
Okay.
everything.
I get what they
There's
mean
purpose
now.
for things
And I
in your
feel
life.
bad. To that girl who tooth I knocked out, I'm sorry.
Listen,
kinda
fuck
bad.
her. Go ahead.
But I was 6 years old and I got kicked out of a grievance program because I knocked the shit out this bitch's mouth. And
Right.
She said that to me. And it took me years to actually realize that it's not a bad thing.
Okay, tell me how, because I don't get it.
Okay. In retrospective of what happened, literally, it's horrible. No child wants not to have a parent.
Right.
No girl wants to grow up not knowing, like not having her mom. You don't want to go through the prom with your dad. That's
Right.
horrible. Everybody hates that.
Or having your dad talk to you about bras.
The-
like,
or period.
Period. Oh,
yeah, the
God.
period was the worst thing for me ever. But I think that is the bad side of it. But what I can honestly say is it brought me closer to my God.
Okay.
It brought me closer to my family. It taught me the concept of forgiveness. It took me to me going up and down, to me understanding who I am and where I stand on certain things. But most importantly, it let me have a story to tell other people and help other people with.
That's really mature.
Absolutely.
Because I can honestly say, even after I posted on Instagram about the details of my mom's death, which honestly I've never gone into detail. I told people that my mom was murdered. I told them that she was shot. I told them it was an ex-boyfriend. But I never went into details of how many times and why it happened and what I went through during them times of that day and that stage. And I had DMs coming to me of people that actually knew, like, I'm in a situation now. And this nigga's always telling me he's going to kill me. And I don't know how the fuck to get out. And I'm like, I'll help you. If I have to put my neck on him, I'll help you. I don't have a problem with that. Because, like I said, to this day, I don't know how deep the situation went with my mom and that person.
Right.
I don't know if he was abusive to my mother before that. But I do know that if somebody says they're going to kill you, I ain't putting shit past you now.
No. Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
somebody did that.
Yep.
So
I don't play with those
I
type of
never in my mind thought that somebody that loved you would kill you.
I don't think people say that, you know, just randomly, and they have that to me, you're telling me you've thought about this. Like, you know, like earlier you were
You
mentioning.
think that this could possibly happen?
Right.
Because
you know,
Because for you to, this person stole a gun. You
Oh,
stole a
yeah.
gun. And you got bullets for this gun.
Oh, yeah.
And you watched and knew where my mother was going to be at.
You planned.
You planned.
You had a plan. You know?
And when I say that was one of the most angriest things I had to realize about the situation, along with the fact that I felt like my mother, this is the hard part for me. I felt like somehow, some way, I had to put blame on somebody.
So you blamed her.
But not per se just the person. Because I started realizing as an adult, there's effects and reasons for everything.
Right.
And I really had to understand, like, it's not my mother's fault. But as a kid, I thought it was. Because I would be like, why would you do that?
Is that because, you know, it sounds like to me you were raised with, like, mostly men around. Is that because, you know, you would hear, like, the men in the family say certain things like, this bitch is crazy, like shit like that. You know how men talk.
No. It became a point stage where, like, I started dating people and I started realizing, like, I would do certain shit that would be playing with niggas' emotions. And then I would actually watch Lifetime stories at some points in time. And I would see and I would hear stories of, like, females playing with niggas. So I'm like, my mom was bad. I'm gonna let y'all know that now. My mom was bad off the rip. Like, my mother's ex-boyfriend still hits me up to this day to let me know how he felt about my mother. And that's not the person who was in the car with her when she got shot.
Oh, someone was in the car with her.
Yeah, they were shot also.
Oh, Lord.
So it's not that person.
This is trauma.
This is a person who dated my mother before any of this took place. Before my mother even had me, this person dated my mother.
Okay.
And told me how outstanding my mother was and how, like, embedded he was with her.
Now, also with sorry to cut you off, but with dating people, you can also see, like, I get what you're talking about, like why you question the blame. You question like your mom as the blame because you yourself, even me, a lot of people have done it. You know,
we play people's emotions, and we got.
Or sometimes you don't even know that you're doing it.
Exactly.
You could just be a genuine person, just be a nice person in general, and someone could take that as, oh, this is for me.
Yep.
This person is taking, you know, some.
Yep.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, that it's people that do that, but people do.
Or like you said earlier, you know, there's such a thing as verbal abuse.
Yeah.
People take that very lightly. Verbal abuse.
I feel like it could escalate.
Verbal abuse can
That's
always escalate because, you know, you're saying all the things that you really want to do, and you know you're sort of ratcheting yourself up to, you know, really like commit the violence that you know want to commit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, what do you do now though? Like, what do you do now? Like, have you ever had a situation where you were?
I had a situation where I was physically abused and verbally abused, and I spoke with Solo about this before. And for me, the first time that I was physically struck by the person, it wasn't an ongoing beating type of thing, but it was a situation where we were arguing. He was sitting in a chair. I stood up. I didn't put my hands on anybody, but I stood up talking. You know, some people get excited talking, make a point, and sometimes people slap you right back down.
Wow.
In a literal sense.
Yeah, in a literal sense.
In a
literal sense.
Right back down.
And when I mentioned, like, you know, sometimes you don't expect certain things coming from certain people.
Yep.
Someone takes care of their mom so well, or they seem very caring to women, or they seem, you know, positive when it comes to that. And then you turn around and do the complete opposite.
That's why I hate the statement when people be like, see how he treats the women in his life.
No.
Them women will probably tear that ass up, so he's pussy, he's not going to step to them people.
Right.
Exactly.
Or like my friend, you know, if you hear him talk about his mom, like, you know, just the greatest thing, you know, since sliced bread. And I've known this brother forever, since we were young. And always, you know, he talked about, like, you know, what a great woman his mom was.
Yeah.
Until all of his shit started to really come out. You know, and I said, oh, nigga, you're mad at her.
Yeah.
Rightly so. You and your brothers and sisters were eating out of a fucking garbage can. Like, hungry. Hungry and starving. And all of his brothers and sisters are a mess in one way or the other. One brother, like, left and never came back. They've never seen him again.
Wow.
Like, he has a wife and a child, and they've never met the wife or the kid.
Wow.
Like, he just was like, I'm getting the fuck away from this whole situation. You're never going to see me again. Wow. And they all are different levels of crazy, because they're all, in a sense, traumatized by the way they grew up. Oh, because on top of that, the father was violent.
And just like what you said with that, there's different levels of domestic violence and domestic abuse.
Exactly.
And it grows in different stages, but sometimes it's, you know, like you said, a lot of people ignore those minor stages.
Yep.
Because people are so reckless when it comes to speech today. Sometimes people say things that they really don't mean. Some jokes today are really not funny. Like, some jokes that exist today that are extremely hilarious would have not been funny 20, 40, or even 30 years ago.
Right, true.
You know,
true.
So the sarcasm and the humor level is completely different now, where a lot of people unfortunately dismiss things, or they become immune to things. Like, we're not immune to seeing somebody getting shot on camera anymore.
No,
because it's been done so many times.
Yeah.
Or we're not even immune to domestic abuse.
Yeah.
How many times do you see somebody getting hit?
I mean, that's
on
because,
camera, especially
to
when it
be
comes to
honest, no, people really don't believe women, and black women are less likely to be believed. We're less likely to be believed. You know what I mean?
Because then we
And
got
see, when I was
attitudes
in the industry,
and
I
we be
knew
talking
that.
crazy.
I
And
said, when I was in the industry, I knew that. I knew that I was in an industry where my life wasn't valued.
Wasn't worth anything,
most
right?
of the time I knew females who would be arrested, and they had sex with the officers before they were arrested. Like, that was what I've never seen it. But that has never happened to me. But sometimes those type of situations do exist. So even when going into working in certain industries, you become leery of the situations you may bring to yourself. So you do act accordingly. For me, I say I've never been raped or anything, as detrimental as that. But sometimes you do know people who've had these experiences, and sometimes, you know, it does affect you in the way that you move. Like a traumatic situation like that, having your mother murdered, especially at a young age, that is, of course, going to affect your life. It doesn't have to be positive. It doesn't have to be necessarily a negative, but it is going to be an impact.
People try to say, like, I'm harsh. And I tell people all the time, I'm not harsh, I'm just real, and I'm not going to play with your feelings.
As long as you ain't hurting nobody in society, you're dealing with whatever exists in your life.
Because my thing is that I know my mom had niggas. I ain't going to ever say my mother didn't get niggas. I knew for a fact my mom was getting niggas. I had a different uncle every once in a while. You know how black people, uncle so-and-so, uncle so-and-so, uncle so-and-so. And I had it, and I seen dudes taking care of my mom. But my mom was always independent in her own right. But like I said, I don't know how far that story goes and how she treated that man and what she did to make him in his head feel like there was something there after the fact that it was ended.
Well, let me tell you.
So it would never be a blame that I'll try to put on her. But like I said, I had to learn the concept of forgiveness to understand that whatever my mother did, my mother's a grown-ass woman. I can't say shit about it.
Right.
And it is what the fuck it is. And it gives nobody the right to do anything to my mother.
That's right. Because this dude, like whoever the fuck he is, yes, you should kill yourself because you're an awful fucking human being, because no matter what that woman did, no matter what she did, I don't care if she cursed his ass out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You, as a grown man, have the choice to walk. You decided that it was a better idea to kill a woman with 2 children who depended on her
versus actually walking
the fuck away and being a man. Be a man. Walk away. I don't give a shit what she did. I really don't. I don't give a fuck what she did to him. I don't care.
It really doesn't even.
It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't warrant. It never
and I
warrants
think
that.
That's why he took the coward's way out and killed himself.
Because he knew that.
Because if he would have went to trial, what a pussy.
He wouldn't have made it.
What a pussy.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have made it to
He
trial.
wouldn't have made it. He wouldn't
Not
have
gonna hold you with my family?
Well, no.
That nigga
Yeah,
wouldn't
he
have
wouldn't
made
have
it
made it to trial, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
They would have at least had to come and arrest him, and he would, like, be in holding until, like, court. But you're a pussy. Because no matter what that woman did, it doesn't matter. You had no right. You had no right to do that. She had 2 children who depended on her, and you knew that. And you knew that. So to me, they're all a bunch of fucking cowards. And anybody that has one of these niggas in their family and you don't check them and, like, tell them, like, what's up. I have a cousin. He ain't shit, right? He had a baby with this girl, lovely girl, right?
Ain't shit. I'm done.
Just lovely girl,
Cousin
right?
ain't
And
shit.
she was so in love with my cousin, right? His grandmother told her, like, look, girl, you a pretty girl. You can get anything you want. You can go out there right now and get a man to take care of you and this baby. This nigga ain't shit. Stay the fuck away from him and go get your life. Because he ain't shit and he ain't gonna never be shit. This is his grandmama. Because we don't stand on ceremony in our family. If you ain't shit,
that's what it is.
And you come in the door with a nice girl, be like, girl, look, him,
He ain't shit.
This nigga ain't, like, No.
Don't you be fooled.
We don't need, I'm the first one to tell him, look, I don't even fuck with this nigga. So, like, I don't fuck with him. So, because you have a responsibility to not let these girls fall down a rabbit hole if you can help it.
And see, that's why, like, this story hits, like, you guys don't even know how real this story hits for me, because I had a lot of situations, especially when I first started coming to DTF Radio in 2016, situations with my parents. My mother and my stepfather have been together for over 20 years. People have adultery and stuff like that. Those type of things happen. But it was a particular situation with my actual mom. I'll show y'all videos later and stuff like that. Someone who she was dealing with on the side, this person, still to this day, like, I see this person around, and my father has seen him around too, even my uncle. Like, I have family members who know exactly who this person is. This person wrote a letter, not the house we live at now, but another house we live in. They wrote a letter in front of the house. It was just like, if y'all don't let such and such, who is my mom, let her go, I'm gonna kill her and everybody in the family. I don't play with shit like that.
That is some
I ain't playing
serious.
either. Because I'm going to go get a 9 and we going to handle it how we handle it. And that's just what the fuck it's going to be.
Now phone calls now have to be made.
Right.
Now we have to make phone calls. So,
Right.
you know, sometimes watching someone who you love is like your mom dismiss something like that
Yeah.
and continue to deal with that person.
Oh.
And then that person comes after like a year or two later to attack your husband and yell in front of the house. They fight. Now you still with this person. So it's like, for me, how many, and you know, hearing these situations, I understand the severity of situations when things happen.
Right.
I know the potential of situations. I know where
Right.
things can go. And hearing this story, this is what can happen.
This is where this
is
goes.
where things can go. And for me,
Yeah.
this is disheartening
Yeah.
because it's like you watch people dismiss these things and think that these things are not important.
I know. Oh, baby. Oh. Well, you know,
And these type of things happen, and you try to prevent it.
it is.
But you can't make people do
Yeah.
anything that they don't want to do.
I mean, you know, this is another one of those situations, Vanessa, where, you know, you have to look at the psychology of where your mother's head is, because for some reason she has a need to be wanted this publicly and this ridiculously. You know, so much so that she's almost
situations, especially like so I had to
'Cause
go
it's-
through, because like her mom probably would have never thought that something like
Right.
this could happen to her. You know what I'm saying? It's
I
like
don't
where
think
my
you
mom is
ever
breaking
think
down.
that that's going to happen.
No one thinks about those
No
things.
one, because you don't think,
So it's like when you hear these things happening, it's just like
because nobody thinks that that is ever going to be.
frustrating.
You know, I never talked about this before. Okay.
But
So, I was dating this guy. When I say like he treated me wonderful, like everybody was like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you found somebody like this nice." Like he was amazing, you know. Before I was in the scooter, like I knew I was having problems with my legs, and you know, sometimes when I would talk to him he would call me at work, and I'm like, oh, "My legs really hurt today, like shit," you know. And he would come to my job and pick me up and carry me to the train station. I mean, like, kind like that. You know, he would cook for me the worst meals I've ever had in my life, but he did it. I don't know what happened. I don't know what set it off. But all I know is I'm trapped in the bathroom and he's threatening to kill me.
wow.
And he called 911 and said, "You better hurry up because somebody here is gonna die." And there I am in my bathroom, locked in my apartment with this nigga. Self-preservation is everything. Because I just remember thinking to myself, "You fucking asshole. You just called the police. They're already on their way. Now I just have to keep myself alive until they get here.
Absolutely.
You fucking idiot." Now, backtrack all of that. I had seen little things, right? But because my mother raised me to be like a tough girl, like, you know, I was like, "Oh, nigga, please go sit down. Oh, nigga, go sit down." Like, you know, "Oh, fucking relax, nigga." You know, I think it was a lot for him to take that I knew a lot of men. And I knew a lot of guys. And most of these guys, like, well, really all of them were like friends. And I don't think he was used to a woman that had a lot of men in her life and wasn't fucking them. So in his mind, you're like, you got to be fucking at least one of these guys, like, you know. And I was like, "Oh, please," like, you know. And I should have taken some of those things that he was saying to heart, you know. But I didn't, because, like, why the fuck would I ever think? Like, you know.
Like, I'm good.
Like,
what's the
yeah,
difference?
like, you know. So it can't happen just that quick, because the possibility that your mother didn't do anything at all is great. Because I didn't do a single thing, did nothing.
The only thing my mother did, from what I understand, is she left. My mother was engaged to the person that was in the car with her. And
So
he
she
attempted to
broke
kill that
up.
person also.
So she
She
broke
moved
up
on.
with him,
She broke
and
up
that
with
was
him.
it.
And he was on
See?
some stalker shit. Like, I can't find the article now, but I actually did have it as of last year, where the news reported that he, like, basically stalked my mom for
Oh,
days.
it was in the paper.
That was the first murder that happened in Hilton Head, South Carolina, in about 10 years, I believe, at that point in time. The first murder that, like, homicide, like, of that
Wow.
type of thing. Because Hilton Head is a small island in South Carolina.
Yeah, I know where Hilton is.
Yeah,
My
so
family's in South
the
Carolina.
hospital there
too.
is not a trauma hospital.
No, it's not.
So when my mother got shot, that kind of shocked everybody because no one ever heard of anything like that happening. And then for you to get lifted to Savannah, Georgia, a whole nother state for trauma, it's like that's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Like, I remember people reporters were at the funeral, reporters were trying to find out where we lived at the time.
Wow.
It was really kind of crazy.
Because Hilton Head back then was like a seaside community with no crime, you know.
Before
Yeah,
all
and
of
it
the
was like
properties
all
that
black
exist are
people.
there
It was
now.
really a
Right.
black island.
The
Like
Gullah,
you had,
Gullah Geechee.
Right.
yeah. That was my personal little Gullah Gullah island. I miss South
Where
Carolina.
People
Wow.
will talk and they're
Babies
speaking
Island
English,
stuff,
but
yeah.
you still have to question exactly what they're saying.
You don't know what the fuck they're saying. My
Absolutely
family's
not.
from the Gullah
But the
Islands.
collard greens
Like,
are
you don't-
extremely good.
Oh, that's our thing. That's what we do
That's
best.
extremely good. I
Yeah,
think.
that's what we
Like,
do best.
y'all
Nobody
even know.
makes it better than a Southerner. So,
But this has
now
been
what do you
interesting.
do? What do you do now? Like,
See, because now, like,
And what
honestly,
do you
listening
do
to this,
now?
this is, and you know, honestly, every time you reveal a detail about your mom's story, I'm like, this happened.
yeah, this happened.
Every time you reveal,
Yeah.
and I hate the fact that it's like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You hate the fact that there's so many coincidences.
I've learned
It's just
through
like
the
you
year
see that people are living in different stages
a lot of people have different coincidences with the situation as far as my mother goes.
and are different on different parts of it.
I've had people tell me, like, even my own best friend, I never got why you acted how you did before until my mother died. And I'll be like, damn, I never wanted you to understand that feeling.
Right.
Like, even if it's your mother dies when you're older or your mother dies
Right.
when you're younger, I don't want you to understand that feeling. And when it comes down to murder, with anybody having murder as far as like parents,
Murder
uncles,
is
anything like
different.
that, when I tell you that unleashes a different type of beast, like,
Yes, it does.
I legally was mandated by New York State to go to therapy.
Wow.
I don't know if
Don't
anybody.
fuck with her,
I
okay?
don't know if
Yeah,
anybody
Be
ever
out here acting stupid.
I don't know if anybody ever dealt with that. Whereas the courts really tell you and your school and your family
That you need
you
to go.
cannot be in a public school setting or a private school setting, any NYC school setting around other students, unless you have legal paper saying that you went this day, signed by this therapist at this time at this location.
Were you in a rage?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
I can honestly
yeah.
say
well,
fuck yeah. It took me a while to realize I was in
Yeah,
a rage
I would be
because
in a
I was
rage.
just quiet. Because it became one of those
Silence.
things where that is the most alone I've ever felt.
Yeah.
Because my sister is younger than me, so yeah, she's going through it, but she's looking to me.
Right.
So I can't show her that I'm hurt.
Right. Or you think you can.
My grandmother and my mother were best friends.
Oh, so yeah.
So I don't want to go to her and trigger her and make her feel a way about the
Makes sense.
situation.
She was the strongest about it.
Now, Vanessa, you though, like,
We're definitely going to have another part to this
Yeah, it has to be another part to it.
because a lot of things have been revealed.
right?
I didn't even plan to, because no one really knows. I don't really talk about things in my personal life that much because I
Yeah.
feel like people should just deal with things. But sometimes
And that's the problem with a lot of
we gotta
people in
stop doing
households.
that.
Like I said, like, we hide shit.
Yeah.
That's
And-
why in the black community we have to stop, like,
have to have conversations.
keeping everything like in the house.
We even
It
got to
needs
talk
be out
about
there.
men getting their ass whooped by their women. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like domestic violence only happens to females.
Hello.
Right.
We're not
That's
going to
true,
sit here
too.
and act like that.
That's true,
And
too.
I've been a person who has chased an ex with a knife and had to sit back and realize, bitch, you crazy.
I have tried to box a nigga though.
I'm not
I
going to
can't
hold
lie.
you. I grew up fighting dudes.
And then he
and I
was
thought
like,
the shit
"Stop it
was
before
okay.
I really break your teeth," and I was like, "Okay."
And we just have to stop making shit okay. It's not
Absolutely.
okay.
Because it's not cute.
Like, even
You're
with
right.
the shoot 'em up, bang bang shit, like, I'm the first to tell you, I'll get it in the street if I gotta get it in the street. We could play by all street rules if you want to.
No one wants to do
But
I
that.
think women
we
need to
can't
stop blaming.
condone the shit.
And women need to stop blaming other women when they are in an abusive relationship. I have somebody in my life that I love and adore, and she was in an abusive relationship for mad years. And the one thing I was not going to give him was him thinking that I would turn my back on her.
Wow.
because,
That's-
you know, him like trying to like isolate her because he
Right.
told her once.
He wanted her to be
He
supported.
said to her once, well, you know, like if the shit really went down, you know, Precenda would probably be the first one to like leave you like holding the bag.
Yeah.
So when I went to her house, I said, yeah, I said, so I heard what you said. I said, let me tell you how this shit would really go, nigga.
Yeah,
This how this really gonna go,
Yes.
all right?
No, but
I'ma help plan your murder.
and we gonna kill you.
I'ma get that body hidden, and
Oh,
we
man.
gonna act like you never existed, and even your mother won't ask where you are.
Yes, and
That's how
yes.
the fuck that's gonna go.
And
So,
on that note,
About to say,
Oh,
on
time to
that
go?
note, I guess
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap up the show.
we're
All
gonna wrap
right.
it up. Can you guys let the people know where they can find you guys at to contact you for any reasons?
Well,
you know, moving forward.
I'm working on a brunch or day party for domestic violence awareness.
Yeah, you did
Oh,
talk
I'm
about
in.
that actually. She did, yeah.
I'm trying to do this. I'm saying I'm trying, so don't quote me on this.
So
I'm
we'll
trying.
we'll definitely follow up with that.
I'm
so
trying
if you
to do
guys have any
this.
input,
I'm in.
By
I'll do whatever
October.
you need.
Definitely.
I'll do whatever you need. I'm in.
Because
Yes.
we need to get outlets for this situation. We need to have people know it's okay to talk about it, male
people who
or
have experienced
female.
this, people
That experienced it, because
or know people who have experienced this.
you have to understand, like, a lot of times we hide our stories because we don't want people to know our business, and we
Absolutely.
don't want people to feel sorry for us.
Yes.
That was my biggest thing. I didn't want niggas feeling sorry for me.
Yeah.
So I felt if you felt sorry for me, you took pity on me, and you would make it a laughing matter, or you just would be like, damn, there go that sad girl who mom got murdered. That's crazy.
Word.
Like, a lot of people to this day don't know, but I guess you're gonna know now. I don't look at people in the eyes directly because I was told so much as a child, you look so sad.
Sometimes in different cultures that can be disrespectful.
Exactly.
But yeah, let the people know where they can find you at.
So if anybody wants to contact me, I don't care if you've been in a situation, you know somebody in a situation, anything like that. I'm so willing to help you. Don't even understand. You can hit me up at S0L0_charm. You can hit up my email, charmapproved. If you DM me and the situation gets that serious, I'll even give you my damn number so you can personally text me, my WhatsApp, whatever. I don't care. Like, if you know anybody that's in any domestic situations, or even if you know somebody that's a child of a domestic situation, as far as the parent is gone and they're by themselves and they really don't feel like they have anybody to talk to, send them to me. Because this is the shit that ends up building up another domestic situation.
Absolutely.
Because nobody wants to sit and talk to you. Nobody wants to hear what you got to say. Everybody's going to mark you off as being that sad fucking child. You're not always that sad child. You're just a child that's confused sometimes. And even as an adult, you can still be a confused child.
And there's people who can help you.
Right.
There's people who can help you. Precenda, can you let the people know where they
You
can find you
can
at?
find me on all social media at Precenda. That's PRECENDA_INC. I am the hit maker. Hashtag don't make me get up.
Yes, and if you guys also want to catch her, you can catch her every Sunday 4 to 6 on the Grown Man Show right here live on DTF Radio.
Oh, yeah.
This is your girl Vanessa Smilez, Vanessa_Smilez with a Z, and you guys can find me on IG and amongst many other platforms.
I want to say thank you to
Yes.
you guys for giving
Shout
me
out to everybody.
a platform to speak on it, because I speak on it privately with people, but I don't do it publicly.
I'm glad you guys brought this out. I really am.
Oh man,
Yes.
there go